Hello, good morning. My apologies for not updating you for some time. Life's been busy, plenty to think about. Midsummer, nearly 3 months ago. It's almost the equinox. Oh, first conker. Shame it's been trodden on. Spent a week with my middle child, my daughter, May, at a caravan in the north of Anglesey, Llanfechell, if I'm saying that correct. I jolly well hope I am. I always try. Fine area for megaliths, and of course I had to fit in megaliths at the summer solstice. The most picturesque megaliths at Llanfechell are the megalithic, the long stones on a hill just outside of the village, and we went up there to watch the summer solstice sunset, arriving too late in the day to obviously go for sunrise. So watching the sunset behind the Wolver power station was something that just had to be done. Very lovely, lots of gorgeous moods and atmospheres as the sun went down. But the thing that's going to be most memorable about that visit is the cows. Cows came up across the field during our time there. I tried scaring them off by bellowing moo, but it just attracted even more cows. So much so that by the time it was time to leave the field, we were completely enclosed by cows. I climbed over the stile to put my feet on top of the wall into the cows' field, and the cows came up close. They even licked my shins. It was a hot day, so I think they were probably getting a nice sort of salt lick. But by heck, if you've ever been licked by a cow's tongue, they're rough. Anyway, I'd seen this thing on Instagram where people do this really weird position with their arms and yell at the cows, and the cows run off. So I thought I'd give this a go. So insert video and audio, thank you, May, and me going at the cows. It did scare them a bit, and eventually managed to exit the field, but not without much hilarity and a little tension as we went about that. One rainy morning, I went to the solitary standing stone on the east side of Llanfechell, and spent a while marvelling it. It's interesting going back to sites you haven't been to very much over 20-30 years. Kind of acts as a place of particularly a contemplation and reflection and changes in your life, and you also recognise how much your own way of interacting with the site has changed, reading the landscape, reading the stone. And was really interested to see a line of sight to a barrow further east, and line up a line of sight with the megalithic to the north west, something like that, I reckon. So happy moments there. And then did a really good walk out from Llanfechell to visit some enigmatic stones on the edge of the road. I am sure that they must be modern. They're not there on the Ordnance Survey map, and they're not scheduled. But I first came across them in an illustration of Scott Peck's book, In Search of Stones, where they describe their trip around Anglesey, and it's there as one of the headers for their visit. And it really puzzled me, because they were showing these pictures on Anglesey, and several years ago I just caught a glimpse of them going around the bend, and there they were. Not being that far from them, I had to include them in a good walk around from Llanfechell. And you can get close to them from a large lay-by where there seems to be often lots of aggregate stored for road maintenance. I think a council depot of some sort. And peer through the fence, zoom in. That's what I did. And yeah, sympathetically placed, but I don't think they're ancient. From there, I chose to go to visit two stones at Penia or Seth farm further south and west from those two modern stones. Past the site of a windmill and a ruined farmhouse, very atmospheric, and really enjoyed these two stones at Pen or Seth. I don't think I've tried to photograph them for like 20-30 years. Really fascinating. I always enjoy lining up the sight lines between the stones and seeing at what point they become visible, especially on Anglesey. I do feel that like the intervisibility of stones may well be like directional. This is the way to go to certain key points, follow certain routes. Not exclusively, but I think there are grounds to think about that. So I spent a while photographing the more northern stone from the roadside, and the one that's at the south, the more southern stone. You can go through the gate. There wasn't a gate last time I visited there, just walked through. Then it's right next to the gate, and yeah, interesting seeing it line up sight lines. And also the spire of a church to the south peeping up just above the horizon. On my final morning, I went out to the single stone on the east side of Llanfechell. Some moments feeling the sun, looking at the sight lines, and just sort of feeling being there to take that feeling back with me. Always feel something of a home on Anglesey. It sort of kind of resonates in my being. Love it. And whilst you're in Llanfechell, do take a look in the parish church there. Really interesting church down in the dip. Not up on the hillside to, yeah, like we're here or this is Christian now. It's down in the dip, it's hidden. And there is also a stained glass window of Robert the Bruce with the spider. Really interesting to go and see that, and to tie in with the tale of Robert the Bruce and the spider in the cave, which gave him his inspiration to go on and defeat the English. I got back to North Wales a couple times since that Midsummer trip to Anglesey. One near Llanfechell and the other on the south side of Anglesey for a week in the middle of August. And I will do updates from those trips because I took plenty of photos and videos, as I always do. It's just finding the time to stitch it all together. Thanks for watching, take care of yourselves, and I hope to get these updates flowing through in the next week or two, maybe even before the equinox. Perhaps that's a bit ambitious. Take care.